You're tuned in to Repco Muscle Garage, the home of New Zealand's toughest muscle cars, hot rods and street machines. Proudly brought to you by Repco, in association with Mount Shop, Maguire's and Rizlone. And this week we're heading down to Tauranga to see a hot rod that's cleaning up wherever it goes. We also have a bit of a nosy into the Toy Shed Open Day to see what the Performance Workshop have been up to. But first, thanks to Rizlone, we're raiding another shed. This one, found in Auckland's Dairy Flat, is owned by Ross Bell, who's well known in the scene, thanks to his eye-catching, prize-winning 33 Roadster. But as you'll see, it's not the only thing he's got tucked away. So we caught up with Ross and his trusty sidekick LB to find out a bit more about his Roadster project, his other passions, and what he's got in the pipeline.
I've got a 1933 Ford Roadster, 2018 Dodge Hellcat, and I've also got a little 1935 Austin 7.
For as long as he can remember, Ross has always wanted a 33 Roadster. And over the course of many years, he well and truly poured everything into making his dream car a reality.
Loved my American muscle, just love them. I've had Fairlanes, Mustangs, all that sort of stuff, but there's just something about hot rods I just love. Every single one of them is individual. Everyone's different. It's got someone else's personality. Everyone puts something into it that makes them their own. Like people will say they don't like this or that about my car. The thing is, I didn't build it for them, I built it for me. It's about me.
Little did he know when he started the build what a winding road it would be, as it went through multiple tweaks over the years as contributors came and went and work was tweaked to pass certification. But despite the challenges, he's still just as in love with the 33 as he was when it was in planning stages. When Ross was first introduced to Chris Mazzani at Blackjack Engineering.
20 years ago, I started building that. I just had to have one. I'd loved 33 Roadsters as a kid, that sort of thing. Just loved the shape of them, loved the guards. It wasn't found, it was built. Blackjack Engineering, he done all the chassis work and setup, and I just love the curves. Just love the curves. The guards, the rolling guards, the running boards, just love it. The motor was done out Kumeu by Ken Hopper, was built to my specifications.
Underneath, Ross, in cahoots with Ken Hopper, known for his car racing engineering skills, settled on a Ford FE Big Block as the bones, featuring enlarged bores and a forged Kelly's crank, with a top end that includes CNC-ported Edelbrock heads.
Well, the little baby, she's got a 427, stroked and bored to a 468. It's a full alloy FE motor. She hums. It's actually a really nice motor, just purrs along.
During the build, Ross also toyed with a number of paint schemes, chasing a look unlike any other 33 out there, eventually settling on PPG Emerald Green. Its highly reflective surface can have an amazing array of greens and blues depending on the angle and the light.
The paint scheme wasn't always that colour. It was going to be silver and white, a two-tone. And my favourite colour is green. And I just kept on looking at green cars and kept on going back to green. It's got a blue pearl over it, so yeah, it does got a flop on it, and it is really cool in the sun. It's got the metallic in it. You either like it or love it. It's one of those colours, and I love it.
The package is completed with an equally bespoke polished grille built by Dan Fink, which matches the Duval-style windscreen and Ross's wheels of choice, polished 15 and 17-inch torque thrust 2s. And when it all came together, the 33 definitely turned the heads of enthusiasts and judges alike.
I've won a few awards. I won Rev Up Whangarei, took that out, and I just took out Pukekohe Hot Rod Club prize of People's Choice, so I was really stoked about that. It took 13 years to build. It's been on the road 4 years. Yeah, it's been a long time in the making. But at the end of the day, I believe I've got exactly what I wanted. Yeah, I feel like the cat's whiskers, I really do, driving it around. It was just so long in the making. It's such a cool car to drive, I just love it.
And the 33's obviously not all he's got stashed in the shed. Beside the retro Roadster beauty, Ross also has a beast, a late model Dodge with a monster high-spec setup.
I purchased the Hellcat in 2018. It's a 392, it's supercharged, It's chucking out, it was stock, there are about 707 horsepower. That one has had a little bit of work done to it. It's chucking out around about 760, 768, somewhere around there. It's got that much power. It's made my sphincter grab hold of the seat a few times. I think I had that car for 3 months and lost my licence. So that's how much power it's got. It's a beautiful car to drive. I even let other people drive it and stuff like that, and I know that sounds bad, but I love people getting a kick out of cars. And I just fell in love with it. I love the shape of it. Yeah, it's old school, but new school. I love American muscle. Now I've got both. I've got the best of both worlds. I can use the Hellcat on rainy days, things like that. It's not an everyday car, it's my weekend car. And it's a beautiful car to drive, amazing car to drive. And the reason why I got it, it was my divorce present.
Ross isn't short on projects either. Right now, there's a bus project in the works, which probably won't be turning up at shows. And another intriguing little number, which definitely will be, this 1935 Austin 7 Ruby, which he's planning to chop before Christmas. Although whether it's this Christmas or the next is currently anyone's guess.
The little Austin 7 Ruby, she's a 1935. She's got a 350 Chevy in it. It's got a 2-speed power glide. The body's just been all sandblasted and everything else, and I can't wait to get that on the road. That is like just a skateboard on steroids. It gives you the warm fuzzies, it really does. Yeah, hopefully it's not going to take me 13 years, but in saying that, I have had the car 5 years already. More than likely going to take some time.
Ross's love for his stable of vehicles is infectious, especially when it comes to his prized possession, the Roadster. And there's nothing he loves more than getting out there and showing it off.
I think you get a kick out of, like when you go to shows and stuff like that, just standing around and listening to what other people say about your cars. That gives you a kick as well. So not only do you get a kick driving them, you get a kick out of what other people say about them. It's just a passion. I suppose it's like a drug. You can't control it. You go with it. One of those things, you either like cars or you don't. You know, I love them. I'm into them. I have talked about parting ways with the 33. It's been on my mind, but it's mainly for room and space, storing it and stuff like that. But I think that's all I'll ever do is talk about parting with it. I don't think it'll ever actually happen. It's just everything about that car is just me. It was built for me. Everything is handpicked by me. That's my baby. That's my baby. Very protective. Yes. How people are with their kids, it's my kid.
Protection of hybrid ceramic.
Whoa.
Now in 3 easy-to-use products. In original spray wax, now as a liquid wax, and a spray detailer. Meguiar's hybrid ceramic family with advanced SiO2 technology. Meguiar's, ceramic made easy.
Rizlone has been in engines almost as long as engines have been in cars. Why? Because from then until now, there's never been a perfectly clean fuel. This means every time you fill up, you're adding pollutants and contaminants to your fuel system. Rizlone Fuel Injector Cleaner can cure those woes and help save your engine. Rizlone Fuel Injector Cleaner adds an upper cylinder lubricant, providing double the cleaning power out of the same bottle. We know something about aging well, so when we say it's your engine's fountain of youth under a screw top, you can count on it. Rizlone is the original engine tune-up. Available at participating stores near you.
Welcome back to Repco Muscle Garage. And now, thanks to the mount shop, we're checking out a shed of a different kind.
Well, we're the toy shed in Rotorua here. We fix cool old cars, bit of anything and everything. More unusual and more different, probably the better for us. and helping people get through issues with cert, VINing and all that type of stuff to get their cars on the road is probably quite a big part of these days of what we do. People need guidance through the modern rules, and we've got that figured out. Yeah, well, we like different. Yeah, we don't want to do normal things. For example, that Vauxhall Victor we've just done with lake pipes and a blower on an old Vauxhall Victor, that's really cool because we've done it old school, how it would have been done back in the 80s. And that sort of job is way more fun than doing a 55 Chevy you've done 5 of already, you know, as an example.
Once a year, the general public get to check out what goes on in this Rotorua workshop firsthand when the toy shed rolls up the doors for its annual open day. With the popular Rotorua swap meet on the same weekend, and a more recent addition, the nearby Mangakino Lake Hop in full swing, this open day always attracts a big turnout, one more befitting of a car show.
It is a car show really with some interesting things, because you go to a car show, everything's parked there, it's shiny and pretty and finished. This is things half done that are up in the air, you can see what's happening underneath, you can speak to the people involved with building it, and it's a social gathering at the same time too for lots of hot rodders. We've been doing this for 5 or 6 years now, and lots of people come every year, and trying to catch up with people is sort of part of it as well, I guess. Oh, there's a bit of anything and everything from late model supercharged Commodores back to Model A's. We normally have a theme where we have lots of blow-in cars or something in particular. This year was just what's already here. Because we are that busy, we've got that many cars here, we didn't need to get any cars in that we've done previously because the workshop's full of enough cool stuff to look at and we're running out of rooms. So today was a whole lot easier to organise than normal because we're only using what's the jobs that we've got on hand at the moment.
That only becomes more impressive as you take a stroll around and realise just how much real estate the toy shed takes up. It's like any good car build, things tend to get a little bit carried away.
The start of the toy shed was me selling my big business and retiring and doing my own things, which evolved into 2 workers, 3 workers, 5 workers, a bigger workshop, this workshop, another workshop, and it's sort of got a little bit out of hand. Yeah, the building's nearly half an acre, and we bought the building across the road 18 months, 2 years ago, and now that's full, so we're looking at extending that one. But we need places to put things while you're waiting for parts or waiting for various reasons, and they're all cars you can't put outside, so they've got to live inside. When I bought this building, I thought we'll never fill that up, but the more space you make, the more room you need, and it doesn't take long to fill up with cars. I'd rather actually be on the floor doing the stuff myself rather than overseeing and doing that side of things. I'd much rather be the one getting dirty, lying under the car, but the reality is somebody has to steer the ship, and that's my job, and I dug this hole, so I have to carry on. But it's a pretty cool hole to be in because we do get to build some really cool stuff and for some really cool people. The people is just as big a part of it as the cars are. We're a pretty social bunch here. Our social club from the workshop went up Coromandel last week with 50 of us in V8s for the weekend. And that's sort of part of working here is the social side of things as well. Working here is not a job, it's a lifestyle.
The Toy Shed crew had plenty of conversation starters for 2022's big event. Big horsepower drag cars sit aside Aussie muscle. There's lowriders and hot rods, and things get left field real quick. How about a bagged metro van about to cop some LS motivation? Or a 1-tonner quite unlike any you've seen before? And that's before even mentioning the Toy Shed's own in-house crowd pleaser, this Model A running 1,650 cubic inches of... And why wouldn't you slap a blower on top?
Yeah, well, that was the whole idea of building the V12. I bought the motor a long time ago with this in mind, and we had it on stand so we could start up and make flames and noise when we're having beers, basically. And then eventually we actually got it into the car and got it going and got it down the track. And yeah, we built that, it says on the back, because we can. There's a whole heap of technology hidden under that car that people don't get to see from the outside. And it's running 11.3 at 125 mile an hour, which they got a shock that, and it's got a whole lot more capabilities than that. But that's fast enough in a car. It's got 1940 steering and brakes, and but yeah, that's a neat toy that we have some great fun with. It's sort of proved its point now. Now we just take it to the odd event here and there, muscle car madness and whatnot, just to cruise around and just to prove that it can actually be driven around, and it's useful.
But if a blown V12 isn't your kind of practical, then there's plenty of more civilised options and examples on hand at the open day. Practical possibly excludes another of Russell's own toys, however. This rough and ready 56 Chevy sedan that's been wheel standing its way round the country's drag strips. Yep, doing things just a bit different is the name of the game at this workshop. And while Russell is the first to admit the toy shed has snowballed in scale and isn't quite the relaxed semi-retirement he'd first planned, for a guy this immersed in car culture, chances are it wasn't going to go any other way.
I don't think so. If you're a true hot rodder, that's what you're going to be. That's the people you've been brought up with, you're involved with, and that's your circle of friends. So I just think, yeah, you're stuck with it.
Okay, thanks to Maguire's, we're now heading to the Bay of Plenty to check out a hot rod that's been collecting admirers and trophies wherever it rolls. Lisa Sawyer's Model A Coupe, built by Tony House of House of Hot Rods.
We got into hot rodding probably around 2010. When my husband turned 40, he always said, when I turn 40, I'd like to have my own hot rod. We've, had a couple since then. It's always sort of been a dream for me to own my own one. So I was friends with Tony House on Facebook, and he was a long-time friend from years ago. Used to live across the road from us. He had a 32 coupe up for sale, and I sort of made comment on that saying, oh yeah, I wish. And then he actually messaged me after that had sold and said, oh, I've actually got a Model A that I'm about to build. And he said, would you be interested? And I was like, well, actually, yeah, I would be. Always like the small little coupes. If I was ever to own a car, that's what I want. I wouldn't want a big tank, just not me. So yeah, it was perfect, and I like the Model A. I like the shape, the lines of it. I like the little brow over the top. Just everything about it is what I liked. It was a barn find from the States, so it was pretty basic. It was already on a 32 Kiwi Connections chassis, and it had already had a motor in it that Sean from Action Upholstery had put in it. When we first stepped in, he hadn't started anything really, so we had the input the whole way through, which was fantastic. So because I'm short, Tony suggested a 4.5-inch chop, so I was like, yeah, why not? Even though my husband, who's 6'3", struggles to get in, he's got to fold himself up to get in. But yeah, it was really neat to have all of that input in choosing the colour and the upholstery and everything like that. So it was really neat to stamp our mark on it.
Up front, that old faithful 350-350 combo might not break any new ground. However, the same certainly can't be said for much else.
Everything sort of kicked off when we were choosing the colour of the car. My favourite colour is red, so I was thinking candy apple red, but I thought there's so many candy apple red cars out there. Thinking back to previous shows that we'd seen, it was Paul Tuttle Senior's car that Jesse James built. I really liked that when we saw that show. I decided white. There's not many white hot rods. And it just sort of steamrolled from there, and it was white and chrome, and I just wanted, that nice, clean, sharp look. And then it was when I think we were looking at number plates and we're playing with the different ideas where the whole Marilyn idea came from, and A girls, and it's like, oh, we could do diamonds are A girl's best friend, and then yeah, it just snowballed from there. My main idea was I want a girly car, but I don't want a pink car. I didn't ever think that I was going to go out and do something different that other people hadn't done. It was just, this is what I would like to do. This reflects me. Yeah, it's just all come together so well.
Ford's Model A isn't what you'd call uncommon here in New Zealand, but no others look quite like Lisa's coupe. Diamonds and pearl white, however, may have been slightly outside hot rod builder Tony House's usual project go-tos.
Yeah, I think he was a little bit shocked to go with white. He was like, really? So yeah, that was quite funny. And then when I told him my ideas that I wanted to do with the upholstery, I think he was a bit sort of unsure. But yeah, once we picked it up from the upholsterers, he was, he admitted to me that it was pretty cool. It was pretty special, so yeah.
And it would seem he wasn't the only one with that conclusion. The coupe has proven itself quite the trophy magnet, scooping up some serious silverware in a short stretch. A dream run that includes Best Ford and Best Hot Rod at Kumeu, and the big one, overall Best Car at Repco Beach Hop 20.
I just wanted to do a car that I liked. I was really surprised at the feedback that I've had and the attention that it gets. It's It's mind-blowing. I certainly didn't expect it to win awards and everything like it has. It's just, I enjoy it, and it's nice to have it on the road, and I enjoy driving it, and I just love everything about it.
And while Lisa has dared to be different in bringing to life her vision for the car, there are certain time-honoured traditions that you just don't mess with on a chopped highboy coupe. As such, modern but ugly niceties like an independent front end never made it to the shopping list.
It would be sacrilege if you did something like that. You need to keep it as authentic as, as possible for that kind of look. Everything's exposed, you can see everything. It's nice to keep it traditional and keep that look going, and that's what everyone loves about hot rodding is, that old school side of things. Yeah, it drives fairly well most of the time. Everyone was a little bit sort of warning me about the cross pies, but so far, touch wood, everything's been fine. The suspension is a little bit harder, you feel every single bump, but generally it's a dream to drive, so I love it.
Lisa and husband Keith might have been a bit late to the hot rod party after jumping ship from their JDM roots, but they've found themselves right at home in New Zealand's rod and custom culture.
It's neat to be involved in it, and the buzz you get out of it is really enjoyable. It's just it's a neat atmosphere to be in. There's heaps of really neat people out there. Yeah, it's just heaps of fun.
And last but not least, a correction. Last week we mentioned that Maguire's Coffee and Cars is held on the first Sunday of every month, but it's actually the last. So, now we've cleared that up, you've got absolutely no reason not to head down to Mount Smart on the last Sunday of every month to check out some of the amazing lineups that have been rolling in. Cheers for watching. We'll catch you next week on Repco Muscle Garage. Feel like your car could do with some TLC? No worries, we've got every base covered because we could be hooking you up with an incredible prize pack thanks to our sponsors. For a start, there's this massive Maguire's and Rislone complete car care pack valued at over $760. We've also thrown in this handy 85-piece Repco toolkit valued at $672. To stay on top of everything underneath, there's a $500 mount shop voucher. And last but not least, you'll also score a year's subscription to NZV8 magazine. That's a total prize pool of nearly $2,000. To enter, just head over to themotorhood.com and hit the Repco Muscle Garage link on the homepage. The winner will be drawn at the end of the series, so make sure you get amongst, because this prize pack is one major haul. Good luck. Repco Muscle Garage was proudly brought to you by Repco. It starts with the parts. Mount Shop Undercar Specialists. Maguire's, people who love cars love Maguire's. And Rislone, high performance additives for high performance vehicles.